Was that on the same level, or would you describe that differently than your relationship with Michael Cochran?
I mean, it would be a different relationship because Natalie and Jennifer were closer friends, just as Mike and I were closer friends, and I would assume that would be the same. On the other side, Jennifer was closer to Natalie than she was with Mike. We would obviously do things together as a family, but Mike and I would do things separately, whether it be games, et cetera, and Jennifer and Natalie would do the same.
Prior to February 6th of 2019, do you recall the last time you saw Michael?
I would say the last time I saw him was within days of February 6th. I don't remember the specific last time, but it was within those few days.
How did he seem to you at that time?
He was Mike.
Did he seem sick?
No, he did not seem sick.
Could I have this marked as state 7?
No.
6?
Number 6.
Oh, number 2 in your hearts.
This is 2 separate?
No, they're just separated from me. They're the one exhibit. We'll glue them together when I'm done. Thank you. Steve, is on February 5th of 2019, did you and Michael Cochran exchange text messages?
I'm sure we did.
You're sure you did? Why?
Because we would probably text each other about every day.
Ugh. Is that showing up on your screen?
It is. It is now. Thank you.
Take a moment and review that, please.
Okay.
How do you know that that's a text from Michael's phone to your phone?
Well, I recall the conversation, but it also says Michael at the top, and it has the picture that was assigned to his number.
By your
that
phone?
makes sense. Yeah, by my phone. It was, and I recall the conversation.
We are so close, buddy. What does that mean?
He was very excited that he was finally going to get the money that he'd been waiting on from the federal government, and a lot of things had happened in between for the previous 2 months, maybe even 3 months. They had what had been told was they were going through an audit, and then at that point in time,
Objection. I'm going to object to what the federal government was going to do that calls for hearsay.
That's fine. We can just stop right there. Now, this is a text with you and somebody else. Who else is involved in this text chain?
it says Natalie Cochran on the text that I'm reading. But there's someone else on there as well. It looks like it says 2 people, and unfortunately I can't see the top of that. It probably would be.
Okay. There's a reference in here. If you could explain that to us. The Smith House? What's that about?
Yes, they.
Your Honor, I'm going to object, but this so far seems to be the financial case retried. What's the relevance of all of this?
I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to allow the state to proceed. The objection's overruled.
Tell us about the circumstances where this text came to pass.
So what had happened the year before in 2018, I don't know the exact dates of when they purchased or were attempting to purchase homes at Flat Top Lake, but Mike and Natalie were, because I was not a part of that transaction until the gist of what happened in the text, but they were purchasing homes at Flat Top Lake from the Smiths. I'm not sure both homes were from the Smiths. My understanding, they bought a home for themselves and a home for Natalie's parents. And they were purchasing homes at Flat Top Lake because of the issues with their company with not receiving their funds from the government. The government was shut down. There was an audit that was ongoing, is what I believed and was told. But because they weren't getting any money, what was happening?
To any testimony based on hearsay, Your Honor.
All right, well, he said that's what he believed, and I think that's good enough. And perhaps we can stray from what he was told, but he indicated what he believed, and I'm going to allow that. The objection's overruled.
For our purposes today, what was your involvement in the Smith house?
They were going to let the houses go back. It's not necessarily a repossession, but ultimately because the contract wasn't fulfilled and they weren't buying the homes, these pieces of real estate, they were going to let the Smiths take the homes back. And the idea was, what will it take for them just to take the homes back, because she didn't want the houses anymore.
And you helped with that?
Yes, Robert Dunlap represented the Smiths, and there was a resolution document that I believe he prepared. Not really for sure who prepared it, but there was a resolution document that ultimately got resolved. It didn't happen at that point in time. It happened later after Michael passed, but that's what that's referencing.
And you were part of the negotiating of that, or resolving it?
Resolving that, yes.
Okay. Let's go to the 6th of February. Was that the first you were aware that there was a problem with Michael?
There were some other text messages between Natalie and I, and then there was a message from Mike as well that I think occurred earlier in the day.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, but I object to any text messages that are not being presented to us and they're not present in court.
Can I respond to
The
that?
references to...
There's no legal requirement